A person with self-respect will never tolerate these behaviors. Self-respect is essential for maintaining healthy relationships and a positive self-image. People with self-respect set boundaries and refuse to tolerate certain behaviors that are disrespectful or harmful to themselves. Here are some behaviors a person with self-respect will never tolerate. Disrespectful behavior. A person with self-respect will not tolerate disrespectful behavior from others. This includes being talked down to, insulted, or belittled. Abuse. Physical, emotional, or sexual abuse is never acceptable and should never be tolerated by anyone, especially someone with self-respect. Manipulation. People with self-respect do not tolerate manipulative behavior from others. This includes emotional manipulation, guilt-tripping, or using others for personal gain. Betrayal. A person with self-respect values honesty and trustworthiness in relationships. Betrayal, such as lying, cheating, or breaking promises, is not acceptable. Lack of boundaries. People with self-respect set healthy boundaries in relationships and expect others to respect those boundaries. They will not tolerate others who consistently push past those boundaries. Disregard for feelings. A person with self-respect expects their feelings to be respected and acknowledged by others. Disregarding someone's feelings is not acceptable and will not be tolerated. Inconsistent behavior. People with self-respect expect consistency in relationships. Inconsistent behavior, such as canceling plans or not following through on commitments, is not acceptable. Disrespect for values. A person with self-respect values their own beliefs and values and expects others to respect them as well. Disrespecting someone's values or beliefs is not acceptable. Lack of communication. People with self-respect value open and honest communication in relationships. Lack of communication or avoidance of important topics is not acceptable. Toxic behavior. A person with self-respect will not tolerate toxic behavior from others. This includes behaviors such as gossiping, negativity, and criticism that are harmful to themselves or others. Disrespect for boundaries. People with self-respect have clear boundaries and expect others to respect them. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently crosses their boundaries or ignores their requests. Lack of empathy. A person with self-respect values empathy and compassion in relationships. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently lacks empathy or disregards the feelings of others. Gaslighting. Gaslighting is a form of emotional abuse in which someone manipulates another person into questioning their own reality. People with self-respect will not tolerate gaslighting or any other form of emotional abuse. Discrimination. Discrimination based on race, gender, sexual orientation, or any other characteristic is unacceptable to someone with self-respect. They will not tolerate anyone who engages in discriminatory behavior. Lack of accountability. A person with self-respect takes responsibility for their own actions and expects others to do the same. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently blames others or refuses to take responsibility for their mistakes. Disrespect for time. People with self-respect value their time and expect others to do the same. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently shows up late or cancels plans at the last minute. Lack of trust. Trust is essential in any relationship, and people with self-respect expect others to be trustworthy. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently lies or breaks their trust. Lack of support. A person with self-respect values supportive relationships and will not tolerate anyone who consistently fails to support them or belittles their goals and aspirations. Lack of appreciation. People with self-respect value mutual respect and appreciation in relationships. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently fails to appreciate them or takes them for granted. Disrespect for personal space. People with self-respect value their personal space and expect others to respect it as well. They will not tolerate anyone who consistently invades their personal space or makes them feel uncomfortable.